Welcome back to the show. Always love having my next guest on the show because, well, quite frankly, just off camera, she always spurs discussion. And the other thing I like about it is when we talk about youth and communities, oftentimes we talk about some of the negative things that are happening. They're doing amazing things. And that's why Lindsey Barr, founder of World Changing Kids, is really an inspiration, should be an inspiration to a lot of adults out there. Lindsey, welcome. Great to have you here.
So
let's talk, before we get into, you've got a great event coming up, and I want to go through all of those. But for people that aren't familiar with World Changing Kids and the idea behind it, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd love to. So World Changing Kids started with the idea of kindness, talking with kids about kindness. And I wrote a book with 75 acts of kindness that kids can do in their community. And it was just getting kids engaged and giving them a place to be part of the community. And kindness is still very important, but as my kids got older and the kids around me got older, I realized they're really hungry to talk about social justice issues. And they have really important things to say, and there isn't always an avenue for them to be asked their opinion or to be taken seriously or to be trusted with a real conversation. And like we were talking about just before, the idea that the kids, they know everything that's going on. The news is everywhere for them.
Yeah, we think they don't follow, right? But they hear, not only do they hear the news, but they hear conversations that their parents are having, teachers are having,
On the playground, there's kids talking about different things. So my theory behind all this is that our responsibility as the adults is to talk with the kids about these issues, real life issues, at a level they can handle.
Right.
But then pair that with an action they can take to help, and show them that there's a whole community behind them supporting them to help make things better. And my hope is that if we do that, we'll help create a generation of kids who are engaged and passionate and inspired and confident, citizens and leaders, as opposed to feeling apathetic and depressed and anxious, which is what we were talking about just before too.
You know what, I'll bring that up because I said to Lindsey, and I know I'm in media and I talk about a lot of issues, but I think media has a responsibility. It always seems to be negative, and I'm just thinking if I was a young person hearing things like global boiling and, the crises that are happening around the world, and I can't imagine the anxiety, climate change, all of these things, there's a lot of anxiety around it, right?
There is.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it.
I know.
I'm just saying that sometimes I think media exaggerates things so much so that it's affecting people's mental health.
Oh, for sure. Right? Adults' mental health too, not just kids.
100%, for sure.
And I think in the past it was like the 6 o'clock news or the newspaper. You would read it, and then you'd have time away from it. And kids now, 24 hours a day, they have access to this, right? Like their TikTok, their Instagram, they're on their phones a lot, as I have teenagers, so our brains weren't meant to take this much bad news 24 hours a day. So that's where I go back to action. We need to take actions together in community to make sure our kids know they're not facing this alone.
Right. So you've got something called Conversations That Connect Us. This is the first one?
This is the first one,
okay.
Yes.
And this is something you want to do on a regular basis, but let's talk about this one in particular because you've got a theme around it, right?
Yes. Yeah, the theme for this one is action is the antidote to climate anxiety. So very specific, all the bad news, like you were saying, we're feeling overwhelmed. Our leaders don't seem to be taking radical enough change to make a real difference. Business leaders aren't really volunteering to, reduce profits to do the changes we need. So we need to come together as community to help ourselves. So we'd be bringing together 3 guest experts, kids interviewing the guest experts on stage.
Excellent.
Kind of building off of my Upstanders Academy, which I do online, and I have kids interviewing guest experts, but bringing this to an in-person event.
Right. Yeah. So you've got 3 special guests coming on. They're talking about different topics, but I think they all relate a little bit to each other. Tell me about the guests and the topics.
Yes, so excited. Everyone said yes right away. They were all very excited.
Nice.
So the first person I thought of was Akil, who has the Box of Life. So he does vermicomposting. It's a 3-layer system. You feed the worms, they make compost. It's amazing. Cool. I have one. I love it. I'm addicted to taking care of my worms. So his whole approach is like soil health. And these worms, if we don't have soil, we can't grow our food. So we really need to take care of our soil. So that's amazing. The next person is Jeff from Rewild Landscapes. So Jeff is all about native pollinator plants, and taking plants that need less water, that are drought resistant, that were native to our landscapes.
Can you ask him, this is just a selfish thing, about this spraying of mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Listen, a business is a business, I'm not putting down any particular business. I've talked about this with people before. I just don't understand how we allow things like this to happen. You're going to come to my yard, spray, tell my neighbors to stay inside and to keep their pets indoors. To just kill mosquitoes, not just mosquitoes are dying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
I know,
sorry,
it doesn't.
That's my rant.
Yeah,
with
no,
you.
I fully agree with you. It seems a little short-sighted.
I spoke to somebody from Health Canada who said they left Health Canada because of decisions like this, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Health Canada, I want answers.
Yeah.
You're third speaker.
That is the kind of thing Jeff can talk to you about, though. He's very knowledgeable.
I would love to have him on. You should connect us.
You should.
That'd be
okay,
great.
I will do that. He's amazing. And then the third person was a very exciting addition, because originally it was just going to be Akil and Jeff. And it was Akil who said, we need someone from a mental health background to bring that lens to it.
Right.
So immediately when Akil said that, a friend popped into my mind, an acquaintance. I hadn't really spoken with her in about a year, but I texted her right away and said, here's what we're doing. Would you want to be involved? She said no, but I have a friend, Dr. Sarah Tuck, and I'm going to email her. So I just wanted to read to you what Sarah wrote back to me with.
Do.
She is going to, this is what she wanted to talk about. She said, these are my musings. Okay. What do you think? She's going to talk about climate grief, anxiety, and how it relates to our disconnection from the natural world. She does this in her job, different approaches to rediscovering our ecological selves, personal efforts, individual group therapy, community level projects, which is exactly what this is. Yeah. This fits in perfectly with activism. Activism can be a source of hope and momentum in the face of climate change, but it can also lead to burnout and despair if it's not paired with the cultivation of a connection to other humans or non-human beings.
Really well said.
I know.
Really
I was
well
like,
said.
every word is exactly what I was going for here. Yes. So I've only met Sarah through Zoom, but I'm super excited to have her come on.
I got about 30 seconds left. Everyone's welcome at Redbird Live. Tell everybody where and when it's happening.
Redbird Live, October 22nd, which is a Sunday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Kids of all ages. You don't have to have kids, though. We just want community to come together and brainstorm solutions, brainstorm actions, and make friends and feel included in moving forward.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not only to you, but all the kids, you know, all the young people, the youth that have come together and having these important conversations. It's just an amazing initiative. We'll have you back again, because I could sit for the next hour and talk to you. I've got more rants. Okay. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.